So a few more stances in Tai Chi, and these are rather more advanced ones. So I'm going to just start off with the one we know, Tai Chi stance. Then I'm going to come into this. It's called T stance. What I'm doing here is sinking all of my weight into my left leg. And I'm going to switch onto the other side, so all of my weight is on my right leg. And the importance of the T stance, you can see I'm demonstrating there, it makes a T shape with the feet, is that it's a prelude to stepping into the bow stance. That's why we need to know about T stance. I'll do it again. Stepping into bow stance from T stance. And I'm going to do it on the other side as well. T stance, step into a right bow stance. T stance is a variant of the next stance I'm going to describe, which is sometimes called the hanging stance, the empty stance, or the cat stance. I'll do it right now. So there we go. That's me in a hanging, empty cat stance. In Chinese, it's called Xie Bu. And I'll do it just at the side here. So I'm looking a bit like a cat there, either heel on the ground or toe very lightly kissing the ground. This is a tough stance to make because you've got all of your weight in one leg. And you can see all of my weight's in my right leg there. That's the hanging stance. I can stand on one leg there. Tough stance to make. Very important to sink down with this stance. This is more advanced, so don't worry about it too much. But just to explain it a little bit, the hanging stance, empty stance, cat stance, or Xie Bu as it's called. The next stance we're going to make is called the horseback stance, or in Chinese, Ma Bu. That's what it's called. So here you see I've got my feet quite wide here. The feet are parallel. This is very important in the horseback stance, the Ma Bu stance. I'll do it again, stepping out wider than a Tai Chi stance. And now what I'm going to do is sink down. So I'm basically squatting here. Often squatting, we'll do it with our feet sort of slightly splayed outwards. It doesn't really matter what we do with our hands here, but just to demonstrate the stance. Trying to keep my feet parallel. This is really quite a difficult stance to make, and also to keep my upper body as upright as possible. Sinking down into Ma Bu, or the horseback stance. I'll do it from the side as well here. Now you'll notice here when I do this, just making my mind up which way to do it, you'll notice when I do this that my upper body is sort of slightly leaning forward. That's because I'm not really very good at squatting. It's coming up in a moment. Stepping into the correct feet position, feet parallel, pointing forwards. I'm going to squat down into Ma Bu. So you see I'm slightly leaning forwards. As I said, this is because I'm not very good at squatting, but that's just to demonstrate the basic position itself. It's really quite a tough stance to get into and to hold. It's very good actually just to practice it, just to hold it for like 30 seconds a minute. It's a really good workout, that. Basically a bodyweight exercise. So one more time, coming into Ma Bu, or the horseback stance. Wide stance, feet parallel, sink down. Trying to get the thighs parallel with the floor. That's a good mark of a horseback stance. And trying to keep the torso upright. Difficult stance to make, that, the horseback stance, or Ma Bu as it's called in Chinese. The good news is we get a bit of a rest now, because the next stance, which I'm demonstrating here, is called the resting stance, or in Chinese, Xie Bu. You can see I'm kind of stepping from side to side. Don't worry about the arm movements. This is called the resting stance. Actually, you can kind of rest there quite comfortably. And then onto the other side. This is a bit like doing a curtsy. Again, this is a rather more advanced stance. We wouldn't be using this in Qigong particularly, and I'm going to throw in some sort of showy-offy arm, Tai Chi style arm movements here. But again, it's an interesting thing to learn and practice. This is the resting stance, Xie Bu. It's a bit like a curtsy. I've also heard it called the lady stance as well. So that's another one of the fundamental stances from Tai Chi. Two more stances to go, and this one really is the hardest of all. It's called Po Bu, sometimes known as drop stance or taming the tiger stance. We use it very rarely in Tai Chi, but I start off with a wide stance. I turn my feet out and then I shift my weight into one of my legs, and I'm really trying to get as low as possible here. I can't actually get much lower than that because I don't have enough flexibility particularly in my ankles and Achilles, which are quite tight. But this is the drop stance, Po Bu, taming the tiger stance, and here I'm making a movement or a position called the snake creeps down. Really good, isn't it? With a bit of flowery, showy, offy hand movements as well. Po Bu. This is a really, really difficult stance to get into. Advanced practitioners can get really, really low into this. I can't. I've been working on it for a long time, but there we go. Paul Boo. And then the very last stance of all is called, this has got one of the best names in Tai Chi, it's the Golden Rooster or Golden Cockerel. Stands on one leg, and you can see here I'm standing on one leg and my lower toe, I'm turning it in slightly. There's a bit of hand movement there as well, but don't worry about that. This is basically standing on one leg. What I'm actually demonstrating here is the transition between a left and a right Golden Rooster stands on one leg movement, which is actually that's part of the Yang style 8-step Tai Chi form. I'll do it again, starting in Wu Ji, stepping into Tai Chi stance, and then coming into the Golden Rooster stands on one leg. When you're doing this movement, it's almost as if there's a sort of invisible thread between your hand and your knee, sort of lifting your knee up a bit like a kind of, what's it called, like a string puppet, one of those things. So this is the last dance. Golden Rooster stands on one leg. It's really good to try this one out. We don't do enough standing on one leg. I'm going to turn to the side now, just so that you see it from a different angle. Starting off in Wu Ji, sinking down, Tai Chi, and then coming up into the Golden Rooster, and then back down, Golden Rooster on the other side. This is actually, it's a really lovely movement to make, the Golden Rooster standing on one leg on either side. A lot of strengthening involved. You see there I'm trying to sink as well. We're always trying to sink as much as possible in Tai Chi. So one more time, and then that's the Golden Rooster stands on one leg position. Oh, one more time as well. So, hope you found this explanation of the various different stances in Tai Chi useful. These are all, the ones in this video are all quite advanced stances. So, to begin with, just concentrate on Wu Ji, Tai Chi, and the bow stance.